Hey vlogging, it's later than usual today, about 11:30 already, so we're just going to have a real quick chat. This week's challenge is to talk about Dead Duck Day, which is on June 5th, and it's a holiday dedicated to finding ways to prevent the number of bird deaths due to flying into windows. Apparently, I think over 1 million birds a year in the US alone die from flying into windows, so it's a huge problem. I know at my undergraduate institution, ILSAT, they used to have cutouts, like black cardboard or construction paper cutouts of like a hawk silhouette, and they would put them in the bigger windows to prevent birds from flying into them, and it worked. You never saw birds fly into those windows, and they were like 30-foot tall windows. So if you have like a picture window that a lot of birds like to run into, you should try that out. Part two, since we are talking about Dead Duck Day, I'd like to tell you a little story about ducks. When I was going to MILSAP, I think my senior year, I took a course in ornithology, bird science, and part of that course was just to go bird watching with the professor and whoever else could make it that weekend. So one weekend we were driving around north of Jackson, about an hour north of Jackson, in the middle of nowhere. And it was my job to just like look out the windows and just tell them if I saw a bird, because I apparently have a supernatural ability to spot birds. You know, we can't all get something exciting like invisibility or super strength, so I spot birds. So we were driving down this dirt road, and there's this lake, and I see these three ducks floating way out on the other side of the lake. So I'm like, stop, stop, I see some ducks. And so he like slams on the brakes, and we have to back up, and he parks the car, and we get out, and we're looking, and we have our binoculars, and we're like, what kind of ducks do you think those are? Those aren't mallards. They look female. Okay, let's go down a little further. So we get down a little further, and we're watching them, and there's just a couple of like female mallards kind of floating closer to us. We'd already seen like 1 million of those, so we weren't paying any attention to them. And we were like, these white ducks out there, they don't seem to be moving too much. What are they doing? We spent about 20 minutes trying to figure out what kind of ducks these were, what sex they were, what kind of behaviors they were distributing. We had already written them down in our log. And finally, someone was able to get around to the other side of the lake. And they just started laughing. And we were like, what? What's so funny? And he threw a rock, and it just hit one in the head, and they were decoys. They were fake ducks floating on the lake that we had just spent 30 minutes trying to characterize. So that's my duck story. Be careful what kind of birds you're watching if you're a bird watcher. Put a hot cutout on your windows, and I will see you next time.